the process? Like, how's the hiring done here? Like, just out of question, does Google hire fresher designers out of college? Like, do they or do they not?
Yeah. So there is a training that I'm due to take. So I'll be able to answer this better after the training. But definitely Google does hire interns or fresh out of college as well, right? So they have campus placement, and that's where they pick up. And to answer your question, how do you sort of get into Google is there are a couple of ways. One is either you directly send your resume, and it's one of the recruiter will go through it. If they fits the match that they're looking for, they'll reach out to you, right? Another way is to sort of have a referral. So basically, somebody could refer you, and based on that referral, you'll hear back from Google. Right?
Okay.
But it's definitely a lengthy process. So the Google interview or any fan interviews are a lengthy process, right? So they,
in terms of numbers, what are we looking at?
They generally stretch above 8 calls, right? So
8 rounds.
Yeah, 8 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah, they generally stretch about 8 rounds, but that also depends upon what level that you're hiring at. So let's say like an L2, L1 or an L3 would be somewhere around 6 calls or 7, and anything above that would be 10 or 8, 9.
Wow.
Right?
10 rounds as well.
Yeah. And so that is the process that they hire, and especially one thing that which is very interesting about the hiring process is it's a very unique hiring process. I think in my experience, I've never experienced something like this because you're allowed to choose the team that you want to work with.
Wow.
Yeah, and the team. Nice. So it's actually a mutual thing, right? So it's like.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and that is what caught my attention. I was like, wow, these processes something that you don't find elsewhere, right? So while you are while you're being interviewed, you are also interviewing the next team that you might join.
Wow.
Yeah. So you want to know the people that you're gonna work with. You can sort of ask the managers or what is the culture like, how many people, why you're hiring, what will be my role, right? And you can ask these questions to them, right? And they sort of openly answer these questions, right? And they sort of ask you a few as well, right, to see if you're a fit, right? And that's how, and that's maybe let's say it's a one-sided thing, right? Either or don't sort of fit into each other's likings, right? You can sort of choose to go to the next one.
Oh,
right, next team or next team and next team, whichever one is open to hire, right? And till the time that the match is made, and that's how the team accepts you when you accept the team, and then you're a part of Google. So I think it's a good experience, and one, if you aspire to sort of be a part of Google, you should go through the whole thing. It's definitely an experience. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, but how do you get noticed? Like, I know that bank companies actually, even when you go through the networking route, right? The lot of the recruiters are bombarded with resumes. That's for sure. For bank companies, especially Google as well. How do you stand out from the crowd? Like, imagine you have the skills, but how do you present it well? Because I feel, again, going back to that sales conversation, right? How do you sell your skills well? And because initially, the recruiter will be seeing two things, right? A resume and a portfolio. So, what are your some advices for people who will be applying for resume and portfolio respectively? Because probably that's the first thing. I'm probably you can add on to this. But yeah.
Right. So I have a very strong opinion about this because it's a sort of help people to build their resumes and to build their portfolios, and I see a variety of them. There's no problem in having a creative resume, right? But it depends upon which company that you're applying for, right? So I would say, draft your resume in such a way that caters to the company's need. It goes back to the same thing that we started off with, the Tinder date profile, right? You sort of have a company, they have requirements, see if these match you. If you have similar experience. If If not, then you look in for another position which sort of match you, and you try to sort of mold your experience to match that, right? I would say the reason mold and not fake out there is because fake it till you make it, right? But when you make it, you cannot fake it further, right? So that works sometimes, but that will only get you to the interview table, but not beyond that. So try to mold it, try to see if something matches that, right? And try to work backwards. So let's say if my goal would be, and I'm still starting off, my goal would be to join an XYZ company, all right? Which I inspired to join, right? So I would go download their JD, right? Which couple of JDs, look at common patterns, okay, and see what work I can do today to sort of match that. It's not going to happen over time, right?
Absolutely.
It will take its time. You'll grow and mature as a designer, mature as a person, and then that thing will turn out, right? But sort of try to hack this to work backwards, right? And then you sort of grab onto opportunities that you get and try to fill that gap. Okay, I would just say user research, yes, take it off. I've done this, take it off, right? And you sort of then that matures to building products. Have I built products from 0 to 100? Yes, you have. Tuck, that is off. Have you sort of learned how this particular process happens? So that's how you take out things and build a very strong resume, right? That is one side of things, right? The other side of things is, I think, having a clean and readable resume is very important, right? Because if you have a lot of data there, it probably sometimes people might not even read it, because
absolutely a quick to scan resume. Absolutely.
You need something which highlights your experience, the companies that you work with, and sometimes it's good to use those companies as badges, right? And to show that, okay, you worked in different areas, different things, and this is the exposure that you have, right? And having a readable and clean, that's one side of things, right? That would get you to a call, right? What would get you through the interview probably has multiple things, right? But your portfolio, right? Going to your portfolio. I think that is one of the questions that does come up a lot. I think what is the best portfolio to have, or how do you construct your portfolio, right? In my opinion, your portfolio should be able to tell a story of the case study or whatever you're trying to narrate without you being there. All right.
Nice.
If you're able to do that through images, through words or whatever, and if a person is able to pick on each and everything, what was the problem? What are the metrics like? What did you try to do to solve it? Right? Who are the users? All of those things. If those are narrated properly without you being there, I think you would hear back from anybody, right? I would want to know, more that, this person has a clear sense of what they're doing, right? Their narration is clear, and I was able to understand what they did without them being there, right? So I think that is what, without missing on the details, you just can't say, there was a problem, I fixed it, and now it's done. Companies making money.
Format, this is the format. This is the user persona. This is the first solution. These are the wireframes. I'm like, bloody damn it. How come the first solution works? This is so true. Yeah, right. Like, I don't get it. Like, when I see resumes when I'm hiring, right, for our own agency, and please feel free whether you had the same experience, I am amazed that so many people get right for the first solution. We've been building solutions for enterprises. For 3 months, we are struggling with a solution which at least fits in somewhere.
Oh gosh! And plus, to top it all, they sometimes they have those affinity maps and those diagrams, right. Sad face, happy face, and that is across. And like, I'm not saying that they don't have that. If you get hired with that, it's good. But like I say, like, you have to have more meaningful content than which is more content which is known. Like, everybody knows what that line means. Everybody knows. Like, I'm telling you, sometimes half the people are just copying and pasting it.
Absolutely.
And templates come with that. So
absolutely.
But what I try to go back to is, like you said, right? The storytelling, right? Storytelling does not need words, right? So build that skill, right? So build a clean portfolio, right? Don't have, and one of the questions that comes up is also that, hey, we don't have industry experience, so how do we sort of build a portfolio?
Very interesting. That's coming out. Yes.
Yeah. So and I would say, okay, as a product designer, either you can build something from ground up, right, or try to find a problem and find a solution, build a solution around it. Hypothetically, make a lot of assumption, right? But show the people who are interested in hiring you that you can think like this, right? There's nobody who to tell you how Google or probably how Facebook or how WhatsApp can improve their current user experience. Right? What is lacking? I think that is what, as a designer, if you sort of pick on yourself and then do that, that is reverse engineering, right? And one of the other things that worked, right, was one of the person I was mentoring, right, and they said the same thing, that they don't have portfolio or probably prior experience to begin with. And my advice to them was to pick one app out of the two which they would love to work for. So the answer was the thing lied between Zomato and Swiggy, right?
And the most heated debate.
Yeah. Which one they would choose, right, to work for, right? And so I said, okay, where are the most among the problems, right? Like, try to see that where you can improve, right? So they individual chose one, right? Came out with a solution, came out with a problem, and they currently work for Zomato, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is that if you're able to sort of, even if you don't have something, but if you come up with some solution, which might not work also, it can be as hideous, not really hideous, but it can not work. You can have assumption, right? But come out with the process of creating a solution, all right, and then go present it to them, not with the intention of getting hired, but just hearing that from their thoughts. I think that is what will make you stand out, right? Give you the opportunity, whether you get selected or not, but you'll end up making somebody would hear you. I think that give you their time, right? Like companies like Swiggy and like Zomato, and just to name a few other startups, right, in India, they're very helpful, I would say. At least because the design industry, I'm just talking about design here, is a very small community right now. So people know each other, right? And they don't mind leaning out to sort of help an individual who's looking for an opportunity, who obviously has the yes. So that is what happens. If something does not work here, they refer you somewhere else. So I think that is the network that is existing as of today, and one should consider taking advantage of such network.
Yeah, interesting. And even in portfolios, what I see, Nikhil, sometimes it's been filled with projects that you have not. It's been filled. Sometimes I always say that the recruiter will probably only go through the first case study.
Yeah.
Probably the first one which he sees.
Yeah.
And even if you have only one, I don't think so he'll bat an eye, because he really wants to see only one and what depth.
Yeah. So the very interesting question, right? Like you quantity over quality, right?
Quantity over quality. Versus quality. Like, what do you choose?
So it's definitely the quality. I would say 3. 3 is the safest number, right? Even for a Mang interview, you would need 3 case studies to showcase and highlight, right? To be honest, I think having these 3 should be your best work, right? Suppose if you're 10, you can't show all 10. You have to show out of these only the top 3, and the first one has to be the game changer, right? Where you think that is complete, right? It's not half-baked, but it's complete, right? And I think that's what, and you're right, recruiters, so there are, the problem with recruiters, I feel that there are 2 types of, there are technical recruiters and there are normal recruiters. A lot of times normal recruiters are not technically sound to understand the depths of UX, right, or probably engineering. They don't really, they pick on terms, right? Like what is the user study, research, all they pick out these words, but they don't really know in detail, right? Otherwise they would be applying for the next role, right? But what I'm coming to is that so it also means that it should be able to tell a story in that manner that anybody should be able to pick out, right? Your portfolio, right? And if a technical person is looking at it, there should be those words explaining, okay, what you did, how you did it, right? And what are the outcomes? I think capturing all of these aspects of a case study is really important. All the story actually, the beginning, the part where it's going up the mountain, going up, and then it's at the peak of the mountain, right? Then either it can fall right, left, and then it can fall either ways, right? So I think that whole thing coming down also is the storytelling.